afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and I'm back here today in full form, working with one arm, but still here, trying to do the same thing we've been trying to do ever since we started the show, trying to make sense out of a sensitive situation called the plight of veterans in the USA. And the USA with the plight of veterans. Now, we have been all over everywhere doing everything, but I got my sidekicks with me today, and Tisha's back. So let me start off with you, baby. Good to have you back.
Good to see you.
And, you know, we've been trying to get people to understand that we're not just talking about the issues. We got some solutions. You know, we got some help. Actually, we're trying to rally resources in the community. And thank you, Tony, for what you did, man, carrying on while I'm running around trying to navigate through this traffic in Atlanta and got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. But God is good. I'm surviving. Yeah. We are on the verge of Memorial Day 2023. Now, I looked at Memorial Day. Well, we've been looking at Memorial Day for quite a while.
For a few years.
You know, for a few years. But, you know, I'm looking at it now with where we are with this memorial because, you know, the town is getting ready to ball. You know, and I don't think that they really truly understand what the meaning of Memorial Day is. Yeah. So I want to talk about that a little bit today because we're going to be presenting to CBC Monday, the project, and opening up with the churches and trying to get the churches involved with the project to make sure that the community is involved with the project. Because what we're doing has never been done before. We are making our national heroes welcome home. Right? We're bringing them home. We getting recognition in their hometowns. We're trying to make that sacrifice meaningful. You know, it's more than a name on the wall. You know, this was a person that lived in the community, that was a part of the community, went to high school, and was in the community, but gave their life for this country. You know, fighting in the military. They actually were killed in the military. Over 246 young men from Atlanta. Now, I'm going to say this, and I don't care who like it or not. I'm honoring a lot of these people because they've never been honored before.
Exactly.
You know, they were killed in war, and they were sent home with a flag-draped coffin to their families. And their families buried them in the city of Atlanta, have not thought about them since.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something when we think about all the money and all the hoopla that goes into celebrating Memorial Day. Now, how do you celebrate this level of military service without having the military involved with it? You know, we don't think about this on a civilian level, but every day when we was in the military, we pledged allegiance to the flag.
Exactly.
Every day. And that pledge of allegiance to the flag, we knew when we was pledging allegiance to the flag that all that wasn't true. But we believed some kind of way we could make it so. And that gave us this extra zeal for being a part of the U.S. military, thinking that we were serving for a democracy where you're going to have equal justice, equal opportunity for everybody. But we learned that was not the case. You know, that was not the case. And we see it more in veteran benefits than in any other part of this service, because you know the benefits was meant for you, the veteran, the family, and the community. You know, to give us a stepping stone to a piece of the American pie. Benefits, we talk about those benefits all the time. Now there's a whole stack of benefits that we earn from just one tour of good military service. And that's a home loan, which is one of the things that VA says is underused more than any other benefit that we have, is the home loan. And we got homeless veterans in this country. See, so what we've been doing is looking at how to identify these benefits and connect them with the veterans in the community. Now, I did something that I want to share today because I hear a lot of people paying rent. We got a lot of veterans paying rent. But actually, mortgage is cheaper than rent.
Yes.
You know, mortgage is cheaper than rent. If you are in the city of Atlanta right now, if you rent a 3-bedroom apartment, you're paying $1,200 to $1,500 a month, depending on what section of town. If you got a 4-bedroom, you got $2,200 a month. A 5-bedroom, you paying roughly pretty close to $30,000 a month. A mortgage, you would not get over $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
But you know, these benefits have been denied us because of a credit system, you know, a monetary system that we work in every day, but we don't have any control over because the wealth in this country, like it's in the world right now, 2% of the population control 90% of the wealth. So that's choking the rest of us down. But what I learned at 75 years old, this Thursday, I bought a house.
Congratulations.
I closed on the house because
awesome.
I want to make sure that we can encourage other veterans to do the same.
Yeah.
Because if you got a mortgage, it's not going up, it can only come down.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to make sure veterans and their families understand the magnitude of these benefits. Every year, this year, over $300 billion budget for the VA. 300 billion. That's B with B.
Yes.
Now, what the VA project is that it's for all veterans, right? But less than 10% of those that serve ever use the VA.
The VA period. Any benefits from
in,
the VA?
in any part of the VA, except.
And why is that, do you think?
Well, because most of them don't, you know, you got a large part of the population that don't have the economic need. They come in, I'm going to give, for instance, when I went into the military, I was already buying a home.
Oh, wow.
You know, because I came out of that family structure where you don't pay rent, you know, you done got grown, you know, you need to get you a mortgage, you know, you don't get to get the rent, you pay somebody else's equity, you building equity for somebody else and not yourself. But you have a lot of people, especially those of a different hue, going into the military. They already got properties and they got stuff, so they don't come back needing the VA the way that some part of the population do, particularly veterans of color. And then we are in this economic situation where basically most of the people that go into the military come out of working class families.
Yep.
So they go in there and they are in a less than $75,000 a year income. So those are the people that usually wind up needing the VA, and we don't get those benefits the way they got it with the home loan benefits. You got to have a certain credit score.
And other stipulations too. I think that's what's stopping me, because I used my VA loan, but it's like it didn't stop the challenges that came with obtaining that loan. You still had to make sure your credit was good. You still had to provide all these bank stuff and pay that you're getting paid. Like a lot of veterans don't have access to that to even prove that they have an income coming in.
Yes,
so there's still red flags.
And the one thing that helped me through the process, I'm glad you pointed that out to you, was the fact that I had an income, an established income, which is my disability benefits, which I earned from being wounded in combat and being exposed to Agent Orange and reaching a point where those disabilities had something to do with my capacity to maintain, employment. And I was in a different situation because I was at the VA. I was working at the VA. So working at the VA, and I was 70% service-connected disabled. So when my disability gotten worse, I was already in a predicament where I knew that I could get that extra income, and for me and my family. So I was able to do it. But you got literally millions of veterans of color that don't know how to go about
You just have to
doing that.
know how to work that system
Yes.
Work the
first
system.
before you
You
maybe
got to
take
know how to
advantage of
work the system. That's what we've been doing and trying to get this stuff done in a way that the whole community need to know about this, because see, this is actually in my book I was talking about short change. This is what I'm talking about. When we serve and we don't get this benefit for ourselves and our family, we're actually being short changed.
Right.
And we need to kind of try to find ways to overcome that. So I went out and got a home loan. And let me tell you something. The standard market part is that you have to have a 640. I did it with a 560 because I was able to get some lenders to listen and look at my situation,
Right.
my unique situation. So
Yep.
they said, well, we can override that.
Yeah.
Or we can get, this is the process. So I'm there with them. We going through what the standard qualifications are, and I'm saying, well, why do I have my income is government income? It's guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
It's guaranteed. So they start looking at this is.
Yeah.
But you still had these other responsibilities that I didn't know about when I got in the process, like paying points to get your loan, paying fees, loan,
Right.
and all this
To
stuff.
get them lowered
Now they
down.
say no money down, but I wound up having to come up with $4,700 to actually get into the house.
And that's another red tape. A lot of veterans don't have.
It's a
just
lot of
stack
red
like that.
tape. So what I did now, out of pocket, I had to come up with $1,800. The rest of it, I was able to get them to rewrite the application.
Yeah, because sometimes it's automated, but when you get an underwriter, actual human to look and say, well,
That
these are
manually
different circumstances.
wrote
Right.
up my stain.
Yeah.
They took my positives and overrode my negatives. And that got me in a home at 75. First time I ever used the VA benefit. And I want to do it because, we got a lot of people out there thinking that age stopped the benefits.
Right.
You're never too old to use your VA benefits.
Exactly.
To get that stepping stone
Yeah.
for yourself and for your family.
That's a great message.
So we need to start looking at these benefits. Now my next role, I'm going to that 740, because at 740 I can go to a VA and get a business loan of up to $5,000 to start my business. We need to make sure and model what we're talking about in these. Now I mean at 70, it'll be 76 when I get that loan, but it's no time limit on it. And I told my family, well, we're gonna get the money. If I put it in the bank and die the next day, y'all can fight over it. And we have the drama like we always do when there's little money around. If you ain't got
Get a will, and a trust. You want to start there, so there's no fighting.
Yeah. But we have to get these benefits to the community.
Yes.
Literally, especially now when the economy is so hard for us, and inflation is eating up the cost of living what we get every day. So veterans need to not just get the the home loan, they need to get the business loan as well, so that they can get the income.
Yeah.
Have the business loan with a plan, right? Because you don't want to just put yourself further in debt. For no reason. You want to have a plan where not only that makes that money back, but then begins making money for you. So don't just get it just to trick it off. You want to get it with a plan that's going to help you move forward financially.
See, now, I'm glad you did that, Teach, because, I'm talking facetiously. I already have a business plan, but, I'm just talking facetiously because I want people to understand that you can still get these benefits no matter how old you are or how long you've been out of the military. I was discharged from the military in 1968.
Wow.
1968.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting to the point that if I had any sense of what was going on, I could have done paid for this house.
Right.
But see, this is the whole thing with veteran benefits. We're not talking about the benefits in our community like they mean something.
Yes. Yes.
You know, but this is one of the most valuable tools that we have in our community today because come rain, sleet, or snow, on the first of every month, my disability
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
so I'm able to pay my bills. You know,
Yep.
so we talk about financial literacy. Yeah, right now that's where we need to be learning that, so we can maintain this wealth building benefit.
Right.
Building, exactly.
Wealth building, and I want to do it so we can make sure the younger veterans don't wait. You know, y'all don't run around in circles like I did for 40-something years trying to figure
not
out
knowing, they don't know, or they're deterred by the red tape that's there.
the red tape. And we have to realize that we know what it is to serve in a government structure. See, we know so much that we know that some people ain't fit to serve. We know what it look like, and we got a lot of them in Congress. We got a lot of them up under the Georgia Dome.
Yes.
And what we need to be doing right now is thinking about directing those votes, veterans votes, directing them to people that will help us make sure we get these benefits back into the community. Now, during the process, I learned something that's going to be helpful. I had to go put money in escrow for taxes, right? Property taxes. I don't have property taxes. So now, I don't have property tax. But the way the law is structured, I still had to put that in the escrow. But guess what I did? We picked up the phone and talked to Rob Pitts before the closing was over, and he's already thinking about how we're gonna make sure that veterans don't have to go through that part of the process.
And not just 100%, because I tried to take advantage of that, and you have to be 100%.
You have to be 100%.
To even get any kind of tax, anything.
In the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's because of how we vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because they can make it 70%, they can make it 50% if they wanted to.
Exactly.
But it's that 2%ers that ain't trying to let go of no wealth building, and we need to understand that that's the problem with our economy. We got all the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few, and they are able to manipulate the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, they're able to call it divide and conquer. But you know that we talked about the benefits, but it's we want to talk about the benefits in relations to Memorial Day, because see what happens with this memorial stuff. The community from which we come don't understand the value of that service. So they're not getting it back. They're not getting that benefit back to the community. See, these young men came home and their family got one check. Unless they was married, and most of them weren't 21 years old, so they weren't married. That killed that benefit unless the parents stepped in and got it. See, the parent could have got the benefit. They could have went on got the educational benefits and the home loan benefits and all the benefits that service person didn't get, but was due. And we need to make sure that
I can imagine how many generational families that would positively affect if, say this soldierman passed, but I'm gonna pass this on to my parents, my kids, that's generational.
That's generational wealth. What we have to do with these benefits is make them real. And I think the only way we can really make them real is show people that listen. These people just got that flag on the casket, and their family got one check, and they haven't been remembered since. What we're doing now, we're gonna not just honor them in the park, but after we go in the park, we're going to honor them in their communities. We're going in the community from which they come. We're going to teach them what we're talking about now. We're going to teach that community what we're talking about now, so that family, some of the families still live. They can still get those benefits.
Wow. So there's no expiration on the families obtaining that benefit.
Well, now the way it's configured now, because only if you're not married, your parent got to be on your.
There's no statute.
No statute of limitation. No statute of limitation to these benefits, as long as they are there. Now, we got some folks in Congress now that's talking about taking them away. Do veterans vote matter?
Yes.
This is where we got to go to, because if we don't start talking about how our vote impacts the benefits and the highways, the bridges, all of these things that's happening in our lives every day. Well, people think that these people just died and they got one check and it's over. They don't look at that. They were dying for a democracy. They was dying for a continuation of, us growing as a community. But when they died, their benefits in most cases died with them.
Yeah.
Because nobody in our communities were talking about the benefits that they had earned and how it should be moved on to their family through the mother. Because when I went in, I had a wife, so I had her as my beneficiary. But I also had my mother on there. So you can put more than one beneficiary there. But you got these things where you got every graduation year, we got young people going to the military. Straight out of high school. Out of these same communities that we're finna honor now. Yeah. And they don't know any more today than we knew, Tony, when we were in it.
Exactly. And that's why it is so important, once this memorial built, that we go into the community so that we can talk to these veterans before they go into the military. If they're considering going into the military, let me explain some of the benefits you have. Because like what you just said, I was not aware of it. But now we know, and we can talk to them before they get in.
We have to, because see, that means that we forgot them.
Yes,
and we served with them. We didn't forget them.
Yeah,
we didn't forget what they pledged allegiance to. Yeah, in other words, like they're gone, it don't mean nothing. It have to mean something. That's why we celebrate Memorial Day.
Yes. Yeah.
We have to make sure people understand that these benefits could make sure that some people up under the bridge downtown wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
I think the problem is people just don't care anymore.
Well,
I think people have taken Memorial Day as a day off work where I'm going to go make some hot dogs. They're not thinking about us at all. Yeah. And I think that's where, where our vote comes in, where our power, where our unity comes in. Like, we're here, we want that same respect. We're going to honor this day for the fallen soldiers that we did have, fallen brothers and sisters that we did have. So I think it does take us making people care, or at least showing that we're here. We are a community, like, don't ignore us. But, I think people have gotten away from what Memorial Day really is.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. Somebody has made us a liability to the community more than an asset. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Who is that? Who do you think it is?
Well, it's the system. It's the system of systemic racism. It's the system of systemic racism. If we look at the way the economy is constructed today, it's just like the plantation was. Economics was constructed. The master had everything. Overseer had what the master let him have. And then you had the other folks. You had other folks that, the trickle down economics. The master gave them what they wanted them to have, and that was it.
That was it.
So they constructed a government to make sure that they could continue to do that. But what the biggest mistake that I think they made is that we were able to learn what good service does.
Back to the community. We're an asset here to this community.
We're an asset
all
to the
community. All our skills that we've learned build up the community.
Up the community. And we need to, we don't need to be bashful about that. We got to, I'm going to say this. I've been doing VSOs, Veteran Service Organizations, since 1975. And most of the people that say they want to help veterans, they look at the homeless veteran. I got some property, I want to put them in my home. Why you want to put them in your home? Why don't you want to help them get their own home?
Right. Yeah.
Because see, that's gonna give that person more pride. More motivations to overcome and deal with those injuries that they have incurred in military service. Give them something to have pride for, because a lot of us don't take pride in our military service after we take off the uniform. We don't take pride in it. I always think about when I went into the military, my family gave me a party. So everybody was happy. They thought I was doing something noble.
And you were.
And I was, but I didn't know it, so I couldn't bring back those benefits that they thought they were sending me off to get. I came back shell-shocked.
Yeah.
And with the laws not even recognizing, the VA didn't even, they didn't even, matter of fact, I can show you my medical records at the VA when they told me, well, yeah, you had a little anxiety after being wounded in combat, a little anxiety after being a little anxiety after being, I had full-blown PTSD, and they wouldn't even recognize it. There wasn't no such thing recognized, and God blessed me to go before the U.S. Congress to help voice that legislation into being. So I got a chance to experience it, and then I got a chance to get some therapy with it, even though I had some serious issues that I had to overcome. But the therapy was there because you had a few people that was concerned with it. You know, you had the colleges that was concerned with it because they, you know, and I want to say this. I had people in my community that was concerned with me, and I say this, and when I say this, I'm talking about people like Julian Barnes, who spoke out against the Vietnam War. But I lived on the same street with him, so he knew me before I went in the military. So when I came back with the issues that I got, he wrote and said, "No, this is not the young man that left Atlanta, Georgia, and went into the military." So y'all got to do something with this.
Do you feel therapy helped at all? Like seriously?
Yes, it helped me recognize that I had a problem. I didn't want to accept that when I first had it.
Yeah.
You know, it got me to accept the fact that, okay, it ain't everybody else as you. You know, and there was some people in the community that tried to reach out, which made it a little better. It made it a little better. So that I did get a lot of understanding that a lot of veterans didn't get because of the people that was in my life.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm saying that made a difference for me to overcome the deficits of my disability. You know, the deficits of my disability. Read my book. I ain't gonna sit up here and tell you all the deficits of my disability because you get scared and you might not want to sit next to me. But you know, that's the redemptive part. It's a story of war, crime, and redemption.
Right.
But that's the story of military service, not just for Vietnam era,
but all military service.
Eras.
Yes.
You know, because we go in and we incur these disabilities, and the government don't even want to recognize them. They fight you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna tell you what. Rambo messed us up. Rambo messed me up because everybody was scared of me after Rambo. How you gonna help somebody you're afraid? Yeah. How you gonna help somebody that you're afraid of? And I was working at the VA. And these guys used to bring these T-shirts in and talk about PTSD, you know, and let people know, like, I got PTSD, so you better watch me. No, don't add to that.
Right. Yeah.
Try to get people to understand that this is a mental condition that you can learn to manage.
That's where that phrase going postal came from. Is
going
right.
postal.
Right.
Us,
Yes.
You know, getting stigmatized from the trauma that we endured.
Yeah.
And that's why people come in and they think that we're coming back to the community all jacked up versus, okay, I have this issue, but I also have these great assets too that I can contribute. I just need some help.
I need some help.
Navigate
this new issue with me. Because now, you know, that pride ran into service. You know, and the service was not all in an office setting. You know, it was in combat where people were killed and being killed, and somebody. They was trying to kill me.
Yeah.
You know, so, and at 20 years old, that's a lot to process.
Yes.
And so when we look at the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial, we are looking at young people coming out of this city, coming out of this county, going into the military, being injured, and the country didn't take care of them.
Right. And those injuries were physical and mental. Yes.
And spiritual.
Yeah.
Emotional and spiritual.
Yeah.
Because some people went into the war zone thinking, you know, that there was a God coming out thinking ain't no God gonna let you go through this. You know, you just ain't gonna be able to go through this mayhem where you got to watch people die in an instance. You know, violently die.
Yes.
Children die.
Yeah. So we have to make sure that people understand why these benefits should matter in the community. You know, because the sacrifice that the community has already made for the benefits. You know what? Think about some of the young people that got killed in the military. What kind of contribution they could have made to their community?
Right.
You know, what kind of contribution they could have made to their families?
Absolutely.
Now we got the Vietnam War Memorial. Atlanta is the last major city to do it, but you know, they always say the last can be the best. Because we're not just building a memorial, we're building a memorializing experience in the community where we're bringing these communities together based on their service, their sacrifice for their benefits. To make sure that we don't have another 58,000 young people dying in this country in the war that that they didn't want to win.
Yeah.
You know, and then not just that, the usage of chemicals and military service is more than going to war. You know, you got people that never left the United States of America that was exposed to chemicals that they used on military bases every day that killed them.
Yes.
They killed them. They came home out of the military and got sick and died, and their family never really understood what happened, why they died young.
Yeah.
We got people that coming out of the military and now in the military committing suicide on a level that it should be a crisis. You know, this is a national crisis.
Absolutely.
When you got 17 to 22 young people committing suicide every day, stack those bodies up.
Yeah.
We're going to have to, you know, make sense out of a sensitive situation. Because I don't want to see the next, and let me salute my grandson that's in the military now. And I've just been informed I got 2 new entries in my family coming up. One just was born yesterday, and next week they're expecting nothing. So, you know, my family is still growing, and they have always had somebody in the military. And every family in the community has somebody in the military. And we need to respect that because only 1% of the population ever served in the military. For the rest of us, for the whole country.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this. We are better together.
Oh, yes.
We proved this by our service. When I went into the military, and Tony, when we went into the military, we came out of a totally segregated community. But the first day we was in the military, we was in an integrated barracks. We had to learn to live together, learn together, and serve together for a common good. And we did. And not only did we do it good, you can look at the military today, it is the most diverse, most integrated part of our community.
Exactly.
Period.
Any military base.
Any military base. That don't mean they don't have some problems because they do. But you look at how they deal with their problems. They deal with us because they deal with it as a community.
Yeah, right.
Now, what we got now, we can't get along with our neighbors. You know, that love that neighbor don't fit nowhere into what we dealing with today because neighbors are fighting each other. You know, so that means that our children are growing up in a kind of a segregated community with their own folks.
Yeah.
With their own folks. So we got to bring this military experience and military service is an asset to our community in a lot of different ways. Now we're gonna have a good time Monday because we're gonna be educating the church about it. You know, when we first started the committee at CBC, I was telling people, show me your budget and I'll show you how to increase your tithes. So the preacher started listening. but let me say this here. Reverend Kenny Brew have been godsend in my life. And with veterans in our community, because he was one of the people, one of the churches that worked with veterans back in that 60s. You know, reaching out to veterans, whether they was in the community or in prison and going through mental hospitals and all the kind of stuff that we have to go through as veterans. We need the whole faith-based community to do that, because see, what we're doing is, in this is something that I think about your generation. You could look at a car and be triggered. You know, I mean, I think about the car blowing up.
On the side of the highway, still to this day, if I see a car on the side of the highway, I'm thinking that could potentially blow up. I'm going all the way around from the military to make sure that I don't
see. We need to know these things. We need to talk about these things in our community. So, why are these young people getting so many bad discharges? You got them Flynn brothers still in the military. You know, you think about what the Flynn brothers did. Both of them are generals, right? One of them was involved in a resurrection.
Exactly.
And the other one was covering it up.
Yep.
But they ain't been arrested yet. See, we got to make sure people understand that we serve because we are a country of laws, and those laws are supposed to be equally enforced. But we look at, we just saw something that broke my heart. This Nicholas Tyrese killing. Black police officers looking like. I prayed, because it hurts so bad because it make all black police officers look bad.
There was one white officer in there, but it's been the word with that. They just got the 4 other ones, but there was a white one in there.
That's going to show you what the media do. The media is part of this problem.
Absolutely.
It's part of this problem. These folks got arrested and charged faster than anybody
really
that ever seen. You know, I ain't seen no gangbangers ain't got charged that fast. So we need to stop and take a break, and veterans need to come together across all racial, ethnic backgrounds, because we are the only ones that are going to be able to save this democracy. The rest of us are caught up into all kind of alternate realities.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a way to describe it.
The alternate realities is just like, I remember one time I was talking with a guy in the bar. He said, "Can I rub your skin?" I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why you want to rub my skin." Because he done been told that it rubs off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You know, he had never been in proximity with black people to the point that he thought it'd rub off. And then rub off on him.
Wow.
so he definitely didn't want this to happen. We are missing our teaching role from the military. And see, that's why I'm saying we have to share our experience and our knowledges along with letting these people know that we have acquired some amazing skills.
Yes. You
know, amazing skill packages. We can organize. I watched some of these young people doing the COVID set up hospitals overnight.
Yeah, right.
You know, went into places where people, you know, just amazing. You know, young folks went in there like Eagle Beavers and set up hospitals, and that's what they do.
Yes. Yeah.
We can address all the problems in our community under the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War. So we're going in the libraries.
Yes.
We're going into the community centers where they open every day anyway.
Yep.
And we're going to encourage folks to volunteer so that we can get the property pimps out of the way, because they just making stuff worse.
Yeah.
I think this just shows that we have the power to collectively make whatever change. We don't need to rely on any kind of politician to change anything for us. When we collectively get together, we can make the change without any kind of political influence at all. But it's just about that unity first and getting together first.
And you know what? I'm gonna say this here. I'm gonna be working this year to make sure that we get your packages in the community. Because, you know, we got too many mental health issues walking down the street.
Yes.
I really think it starts there. It has to start there, mental first. Because how do you do anything else if you're mentally?
If you're mentally,
Really,
when I was mental, I was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I was into my disability, I mean, you know, really in it where I didn't know what to do with it, I was a problem.
Yes.
I was a problem to myself, to my family, and to my community. Had I had that package, had my family been able to say, look, boy, you know, you take this now, you do. You need to slow down for a minute. You know, you got something here, you know, take this in. Calm you down. Get me calmed down enough so I could begin to accept the realities of my life that I've been traumatized.
Yeah.
You know, I came into something that I didn't understand. I had no knowledge of. Nobody was there to tell me knowledge that, hey, listen, bro, you done went through something that it ain't normal. So your response to it is not going to be normal.
Right.
You're going to need some help to get yourself back focused. You know, and some of it was medication. You know, but what you bring to the table is not the pharmaceutical medication. You're bringing natural stuff to the table. That's what my grandmama done.
Right.
used to
Right.
do.
And it works.
And it worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got to get people to see where veterans at in our community. I mean, you know, I've been sold out on your product ever since I tried it.
Thank you.
Because I'm a patient. I mean, thank God I was able to recognize it. Then I could start dealing with it. You know, when you are made to feel ashamed of what you have experienced, you cannot discuss it honestly with anybody. My daddy trying to talk to me. I ain't trying to tell him nothing. You know.
Or you feel like nobody really understands or cares, and that's really what helped me is my battle buddy. When we both came back, it was like she's one of the only people that understand what I went through that I could talk to. I can't talk to my family about what they don't understand what's going on. Even I try to express it to them.
And then you see a car on the side of the road,
well, I'm swerving. They don't understand what I'm swerving.
What's wrong with you?
Car, right.
You know, you ain't seen that car. You seeing a car blowing up.
Yeah, I see the car blowing up before I even get there. You know, so.
If we don't start sharing our experiences as veterans in our community, that pledge of allegiance to the flag that we was doing, don't mean dilly. It don't mean dilly because nobody understand the regimentation of militaryism, you know. So they cannot identify with the fact that you have bonded with people that don't look like you. You didn't know nothing about them. You know, they didn't know nothing about you, but you reached a point in life experience where you was able to depend on them and they was able to depend on you in real time. You know, without any consideration about the color of your skin at that time. You know, in the middle of combat, you don't care what color of the skin is. Somebody they got your back. You know, and what we got in our communities today is a war zone. The violence in our community is the same as I saw it in Vietnam.
And our communities have PTSD just the same that they don't know how to deal with. They don't know how to handle. They don't know how to manage. So they're just as traumatized too. They're just as traumatized.
And we have to, we got to bring that to their attention because ain't nobody else trying to tell them what's going on with them. What they trying to do is take control of the little they got. You got billionaire investors just coming through Atlanta buying up all the property. So they're raising the rent. You know, they got commercials now where they tell you, listen, we can buy your house and you can rent it back from us. I mean, why would I?
It's crazy.
You know, but what we have seen and what we are seeing is how it looks when a few people got control of most of the wealth.
But I do think that in the very near future that there will be a wealth transfer going on, and you know, those who have and are seeking financial, you know, intelligence or literacy, you know, they're the ones that might obtain this wealth transfer, because the way that the 2% are managing, or it's not sustainable. The system that they have created to gain this wealth is not a sustainable type of system.
No.
So quite naturally, it's going to self-destruct, right? And the ones that have that understanding or have that type of literacy in a righteous kind of way, you know, I think they're the ones that's going to be obtaining the money. There will be a wealth transfer going on. It's just not a sustainable system.
It's not sustainable because, see, when you got all of everything, that means that other people have nothing. You know, and you're going to get your house on the hill, but it ain't going to be able to stay up there because the people that's down the hill ain't got nothing to eat.
Yeah, and they're gonna eat the 2%,
Right?
and they're gonna burn their house down. Yeah, because there's anger
and when the realization that this is what done happen takes place.
Right. Yeah.
They're gonna turn on them. They, you know, because they're gonna be angry and upset and just
rightfully so.
Listen, that was one of the problems. Now I had a real anger problem when I got back from Vietnam, and the anger was I felt used. I felt used. You know, I was in a war where I got wounded in Pleiku. I had been to Pleiku 2 times before I got wounded. We were just going around in circles in Vietnam. You know, we take this hill and leave it for the VC or the Viet Cong to come back and get it, so we can go back and get it again. We lost 58,000 Americans doing that in a country that we could have wiped out in 6 months. We are electing the wrong people to run our government. You know, we are electing people to run our government that's okay with 2% owning 90% of the wealth. You know, like you say, that's not going to be sustainable. They, you know, once they get the complete control that they want, that means they done isolated everybody else. And they done hurt a lot of folks. You know, the pain of losing your loved one to an illness that could have been prevented.
That could make you snap too, and do some things that you wouldn't normally do. Looking
at this young man get beat to death has traumatized Memphis, has traumatized America, because they keep showing it over and over.
I was just going to say, I think they capitalize off of watching Black Death and showing it over and over and over. That's traumatizing to us. Even if you've never been in a combat zone, watching someone get killed and watching that over and over, that does something to your psyche. And they like that. They feed off of that.
Right.
And we have
it's getting views, it's getting, you know, they like that.
And we have to be able to talk to people about it. Because if we don't have that conversation, nobody else is. Because nobody else has had the conversation, had the experience that we have in combat. You know, to see people getting blown up, you talking to them 1 minute, next minute their body is torn up. You know, I mean, when I get wounded, I got part of the guy's brains in my face. You know, how do you deal with that at 20? I turned 21 in the foxhole in Vietnam. Nobody prepared me to be integrated. Nobody prepared me to go to war. And when I endured it and overcame it, it just seemed like they was upset with it. You know? When I survived it, you know, they was ready for me to be somewhere else doing something else. I'm finished. I've been preaching all the time.
No.
Let you talk about your product for a minute, and then Tony gonna fix this up with you.
Well, Veterans of Virtue, well, we are pushing and promoting natural healing modalities versus the Western culture, because we know pharmaceutical is a business in itself and it is making too much money off of sick people. And
they got to keep you sick.
Yeah, they have to keep you sick because they will make money. But in the mental health aspect, they're creating more monsters, you know, from the medicine that's causing more people to commit suicide, and they're not talking about that. And so Veterans of Virtue, we have been created specifically for veterans who do have suicidal ideations, thoughts, tendencies, things like that. And so we're just bringing a alternative, holistic way to deal with your PTSD, your traumas, and things like that. In the kit, it has what I call vitamins, because I don't like pills, but it has vitamins that literally have natural ingredients that can lower your stress levels, that can lower your cortisol levels, where you can just, okay, calm down for a second. Because even in that second, that can be a second where you're so stressed and the stress is so high that you might do something that hurts yourself.
Mental illness is a bad behavior disorder.
And it's a thought process that it's hard to get out of. But, once you get out of it and you look back, you can see, okay, I was just in a really high stressful moment at the time. And so with that, we have, vitamins, we have journals, we have it's a whole packet of stress reduction. We even partnered with the VA where they have given us gun locks, so that, when you do have your gun lock, it is a preventative measure, to at least come to your senses. I don't want to, come to your right mind. While you're trying to finagle this key thing, you can have that deterrence of that 10, 20 seconds to just come to your right mind too. And so we're partnering with people from the community, organizations, the VA, any products that can really benefit, the veteran or active duty. We're partnering with them to add this to the kit.
And I'm saying this. I use your product, and I was going into the store. How stressful that could be sometimes. And it gave me a different calmness that I was able to negotiate with people in stressful situations that normally I wouldn't have went in the store.
Yeah.
I just gave that up for that time because I don't want to be bothered with what's going on. And that is not healthy.
No, it's not.
It's not healthy when you can't engage the normal activities of daily life.
Yes.
And that's a problem not just for veterans. That's a problem with people that have been traumatized in the community.
Yeah.
With the violence, the gun violence and stuff, and the domestic violence in our community, we got children that are traumatized before they go to school.
And now children are committing suicide now. It's at a younger age.
Homicide as well.
And homicide, like what is going on in our community?
We're living in a traumatized community.
Society, for sure.
It's traumatized.
It's traumatizing, but there is no balance to say, okay, you're traumatized, here are some solutions. Here are some resources that can help you.
And that's what we got to get in the streets in our community before we can deal with some of these other issues.
Right.
Because one of the things that I figured out, the media and some of this toxic politics have us afraid of each other. So we easily use violence against each other.
Yeah. Or if we just don't agree with each other, we just completely write you off because you're in a whole political party, even if you're a veteran.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be together, but you have this small difference, and we're just going to completely cut you off. And that's where a lot of our community with melanated people, it's like, well, you don't agree with that? Well, I'm cutting you off and go somewhere else. Yeah. Even though we have 9, 10, 12 similarities, but that one that we don't agree with, we're just gonna write you off and cut you off, and that breaks that unity that could have been, and that's our issue with melanated people. What don't agree, you out of there.
And now it's not just if you don't agree, you ain't out of there. It's I'll shoot you.
Yeah,
I'll kill you. Yeah. In a split second.
Yeah. We lack emotional intelligence. We lack mental health resources, emotional intelligence, and financial literacy. Those are our problems with our community. I think if we address those, we will be thriving as a community.
Yeah, we have to. Tony.
Okay. Yeah. We have made some major statements and comments about what's going on in our community today, right now. And the part of a possible solution is getting the community aware of the fact of what is going on in our community. We will isolate ourselves because we try to find a location that is comfortable, that we feel safe in, and all of that stuff is those other people are in those other places, but it's still our community.
It's our community.
And until we deal with that, we will continue to have challenges in our community that will cause us to isolate. And so we need to talk to each other. We need to communicate with each other about those challenges that other people are dealing with. It's not just them, it's all of us. And until we deal with until all of us deal with it, it's going to be a continuing problem.
Yes, I've dealt with isolation where I isolated myself. I had to catch myself, one, that I was doing it, but then also see how unhealthy it was too. It's not prospering my community to be, isolated to myself all the time. But and it goes back to you, when we're isolated, we're not giving back our assets to the community.
We're not giving that.
Right.
We become that liability.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So. And as long as we are unaware, it will continue. It will continue to be a systemic. It will fester, and who knows what the next level will be when that.
Well, I'm gonna say the next level is violence because
they have or community.
In our community, the next level is violence. When we stop being able to communicate with each other about differences, in an intelligent way. Then the next step is violence. You think about it, they say you got road rage. You done left home, now you're in the car and you get somebody, you get so upset on the way wherever you're going in the car and you kill somebody. That you never knew.
You don't even know.
Never knew.
What happened this weekend could be an example of what we're talking about now, that internal stuff. We have no idea what was going on with these police officers prior to and during. And so, it's easy to sit back and judge now, but there is a problem. And there's a problem, and we need to deal with that problem. And until we do, we're going to continue to find ourselves in situations like this.
So now, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We are here every Saturday afternoon doing the same thing, trying to start a conversation in the community that's for the community in a way that we can change the community. And we need change. We definitely need change with our young people, violence, gun violence in our community, our love for this violence in the community. All the entertainment, all of the socialization,
video games,
everything is violent. Even the cartoons done
It's just everywhere.
We're going to Concern Black Clergy Monday.
Yes.
And we hope that we're going to open up some spiritual conversations with the church about the Vietnam War Memorial and the memorializing experience in the community. We need the whole community involved in what we're doing. This is not something that just veterans can do alone. I think we're the best people right now to start the conversation, but we can't do it alone.
No.
We need the whole community. And I think this is the first step toward getting that done, because we're talking with people that have some sense of community, some sense of what we need to do in order to be a more safe, a more vibrant, and more progressive community. I mean, we really did a lot since the 60s.
Yes.
We did a lot. We did a lot as a nation and as a people. Now we run into this wall where we can't get along. We are all against each other. We got to stop that. We got to be able to communicate, and we got to be able to get some help in the community. So we got to make sure that people know that we got resources that they can afford too. Now I want to say the package that you got is affordable, and it's almost like it's something I want to see people with to carry like in their little pocket. So when they run into these things, and I know when I'm finna be stressed, I'm finna be triggered. Sometimes that's what made me want to isolate. I go with if I can, but sometimes you can't.
Right.
Okay.
With the last 2 minutes, do you want to talk about the brick project, and how we're memorializing that, and if it's not too late for people to get that brick?
It is never too late for anyone to get a brick.
Okay.
And so we're encouraging everybody to go to Sons of Atlanta Vietnam Memorial, sonsofatlanta.org, and purchase your brick and become a participating member in this memorial.
And then you can volunteer to help us do this too, because this is about the community, so we need volunteers to help us finish this project. So until next week, now we'll be back again next week with some. We're gonna have a couple of packages with us next week. We got to have some, because I need people to see this. Because we need to get this in the streets.
Yes.
You know, this is something that I know helps, and it's affordable. So we're gonna do this. We got to get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
All right.
All right. Next